I know you're a former chairman, Nigerian Medical Association. Were there any notable achievements?
One of the things I prayed to God.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining Oyo State today on BCOS television. I am Iroyin Ipinle Oyo. The Oyo State government has dismissed the federal government's recent claim of ownership over certain landed properties within the state, insisting that such properties fall under its jurisdiction. The State Commissioner for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Williams Akinfunmilayo, made the clarification during a press conference held at the ministry on Thursday. Details of the event are presented by Governor's Office correspondent Olalekan Sulaiman.
Addressing journalists at a press conference in Ibadan, the State Commissioner for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Williams Akinfunmilayo, clarified that all lands allocated to the federal government after the 1978 Land Use Decree remain subject to the control, planning, and oversight of the state government. Akinfunmilayo noted that several of the properties in question had been abandoned, underutilized, or diverted from their original purposes. A situation, he said, had created security and developmental concerns in their host communities.
Asidem, which they are referring to, that belongs to the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, it's a tenant of Oyo State. The land was given to Asidem in 1983, to precise January 8. And there is a certificate of occupancy which was issued to them by Oyo State, whereby it is expressly stated on the certificate of occupancy that they should pay annual rent of, which is nominal, nothing less than 10 kobo every year to the state. This implies that their tenants were the landlord. Hence, the status still maintain that they are the lessee, we are the lessor. We are the one that used CFO to assist them in 1983.
He stressed that the state government reserves the right to revoke such allocations to ensure they are put to productive use for the benefit of residents. The Commissioner further urged the public, particularly investors, to disregard the federal government publication, which he described as capable of discouraging investment in the Oyo State.
It has to do with the Federal Housing Scheme Program in Shaki, which is about 90.6 hectares of land. I think this was given out as a scheme established during the days of former President Shehu Shagari, whereby the federal government built houses in there on the portion of the land which they have sold. The federal government sold them out. But however, there are still a big parcel of land which is undeveloped in Shaki right now. And if they are not putting it to better use in the interest of people, the people of Oyo State, in particular Nigeria in general, they say we'll take it over. We can't have a jungle in the city.
The federal government had earlier published a notice in the National Daily asserting ownership of 6 landed properties across Oyo State, including African Regional Center for Manufacturing, Olodo, Ibadan, Federal Low-Cost Housing Estate, Idiayunre, Federal Housing Scheme, Shaki, National Strategic Green Reserve, Iyana Church, Monoton, Radio Nigeria Property, Bashorun, Ibadan, and the National Horticultural Research Institute Property at Leshiloye, Ibadan, warning that the sites were not for sale. Olalekan Sulaiman, BCOS News.
Oyo Assembly has called for urgent reforms to improve the quality of patient care in private and public hospitals across the state. The House made a call following a motion presented by the lawmaker representing Oluyole constituency, Honorable Waheed Akintayo, at the floor of the House. BCOS reporter Olameko Sishola brings the details.
The plenary of the Oyo State House of Assembly, presided over by the Speaker, Honorable Adebo Ogundoyin, received motions pertaining to the development of Oyo State. In a compelling motion titled "Need to Improve Quality of Patient Care in Private Hospitals in Oyo State," was presented before the State House of Assembly by Honorable Waheed Akintayo, who represents the Oluyole State constituency. Honorable Akintayo decried rising cases of medical negligence and the professional misconduct in private healthcare facilities, warning that the trend poses a grave threat to public health and trust in the medical system. Honorable Akintayo acknowledged the vital role private hospitals play in the healthcare system, particularly in urban centers like Ibadan, where they provide specialized and accessible services to thousands of residents.
Mr. Speaker, resolves to urge the executive arm of government through the Ministry of Health, 1, to conduct a comprehensive review of private hospitals in the state, focusing on their compliance with established medical standards and the competence of their healthcare personnel.
Some lawmakers, in their reactions, expressed deep concern over growing pattern of malpractices, citing disturbing reports from media outlets and personal testimonies. In another development, the House also received a motion titled "Need to Curb the Exploitation and Dehumanization of People, particularly youths, by tricycle and motorcycle dealers through abusive hire purchase agreements in Oyo State," centered by Honorable Yusuf Adebisi, representing Ibadan Southeast 1, urged government to take measures that will protect the rights and interests of these young operators.
Mr. Speaker, I urge the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Investment and Cooperative, and Public Works and Transport to immediately investigate the activities of all tricycle and motorcycle hire purchase companies operating in Oyo State with a view to A, design a standard regulatory framework for all hire purchase operators. B, cap interest rates and set fair limits on repayment terms. C, prohibit illegal possession and penalize abusive practices.
Also, a motion on the need for executive arm of government to take proactive steps towards institutionalizing automated and centralized revenue collection platform through a unified digital treasury system. The motion, presented by the leader of the House, Honorable Sanjo Adedoyin, and co-sponsored by 9 members, solicited the state central revenue account that will accommodate all revenue-generating ministries and MDAs in a single centralized account.
Mr. Speaker, we resolve to all the Ministry of Finance and Oyo State Internal Revenue Service to update the House of strategic steps taken on operationalization of state central revenue account system. Filed the House resolution of Thursday, 2nd October 2025, and submit the inventory list of all revenue consultants engaged for revenue collection at various ministries, departments and agencies and public corporations.
The House has adjourned its sitting till Tuesday next week. Olamiposi Ishola, BCOS News.
In a move aimed at improving the quality of education and creating a more conducive learning environment for students within the area, the Oyo State government has commissioned a newly renovated block of 6 classrooms at Community High School, Osengere, in Egbeda local government area of the state. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony, the state governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, represented by the State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Honorable Segun Olaiwola, admonished teachers and students to take ownership of the school property, urging them to maintain the facilities and promote a disciplined learning environment. He also cautioned students against hooliganism and other forms of misconduct, warning that any errant students would face strict disciplinary measures. In his remarks, the executive chairman of Egbeda Local Government, Honorable Sikiru Sonda, expressed satisfaction over the completion of the project, describing education as the bedrock of development and the best legacy that can be given to children as future leaders. He noted that the initiative reflects the vision of Governor Seyi Makinde, whose administration has made education one of the 4 cardinal pillars of development in Oyo State. The chairman also urged the management and staff of Community High School to make good use of the renovated classrooms and ensure regular maintenance of the facilities to preserve their longevity. The Olubadan of Ibadan-land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, has inaugurated the Monarch Investment and Economic Committee, a strategic team set up to drive economic revival and urban renewal in the ancient city. The inauguration ceremony took place at the Olubadan Palace, Okearemo, Ibadan, with members of the Olubadan Council in attendance. The newly formed committee is chaired by Chief Mrs. Onike Akonde, a 2-time Minister of the Federal Republic, while former Head of Service of the Federation, Professor Dapo Afolabi, serves as co-chairman. Oba Ladoja described the team as a blend of top business leaders and industry experts with vast experience capable of restoring Ibadan's economic strength. Speaking during the inauguration, Oba Ladoja lamented the disappearance of once thriving industries that positioned Ibadan as a major economic hub in the past. The monarch said the establishment of the committee was part of his broader vision to revive the city's industrial base and create sustainable job opportunities. He expressed confidence that the collective expertise of the committee members would help reposition Ibadan for economic growth and attract new investors